Welcome to Finch Brothers Smokers Barbecue Review, where we try it before you buy it. Today, we cooked. This is a bone-in, prairie fresh. A lot of people like to call it pork butt. It's actually the pork shoulder. It's from the shoulder. It works really well to cook low and slow, which is what I did. And we'll talk about how I seasoned it. First, I covered it with a layer of DB 180, it's Dead Bird 180, all-purpose seasoning. This is a fantastic rub, literally on everything, as it says all-purpose. It's got onion, garlic, salt, pepper. It's got some butter flavor, actually. It's really good. Fantastic on steak. It's on my steak video. I really enjoyed that on steak, and we'll see how it is on pork. Paired with his perfect pork rub. It's a fantastic. It's got onion and garlic as well as paprika, some salt, some sweetness, some sugar, some molasses actually. It works really well on pork. I love it on pork loin. I've done quite a few cooks with this pork, perfect pork. Loved it on ribs as well. And my favorite seasoning there is out there, this JDQ sweet rub. It's his original rub. I've gotten to know Josh. He's a fantastic guy. This has a big hit of sweetness as well as some pecan, and it's got a slight kick, a little bit of pepper on the back end, which is just a really well-balanced rub. I've literally put it on anything and everything. Just did it on some steaks actually the other day. Turned out really good. So let's talk about how I cooked this. I cooked this actually at 250 degrees until that fat cap split up top. That's a good indicator of when you should pull the pork to wrap it. I wrap it in tin foil, and I added a little bit of butter for some savoriness, as well as some honey and a little bit of barbecue sauce. You can pick whatever kind you like to use. I actually used this Blues Hog, Tennessee Red. You can find it at any Fairway, in any barbecue store. This is a staple in all competition barbecuers' arsenal. So let's get to shredding this thing, and we'll talk a little bit about what you want to expect from a well-cooked pork butt. Typically, it is done between 205 to 215 degrees. I just take my probe and poke it in. It's got to feel like you're poking into butter. There's little to no resistance. It doesn't catch or pull when you're probing it, and you can tell by how almost jello-like it becomes. So let's see how we did. Also, another good indicator is if you pull it and you get a clean bone. That is a perfectly cooked pork butt. You can see some of that fat is beautifully rendered, and it is falling apart. I haven't done anything to this. You can just see how juicy it is from the wrap, and it has a ton of intramuscular fat. And you can see I've got my meat stick in here that I had in there for the whole cook. It did its job telling me when it hit the temperature that I wanted to wrap it at, and I've used it on my steaks. I've used it on everything. Go to themeatstick.com. You can find this Meat Stick X, and you'll be able to perfectly cook your meat and smoke and grill whatever you're looking to do. This is the money muscle. At competitions, they take and they actually cut this up. This is super tender. I want to see how this tastes. Oh wow, that melts like butter in the mouth. On top here, this is the fat cap on top of the pork butt, but actually there is some meat in between the fat cap here. It's a really decadent part of the pork butt. This one turned out really well. Let's see. Juicy. That is juicy. That is really, really, really good. Oh, this turned out perfectly. You can see how much moisture is in there. I mean, I didn't inject it. I didn't do anything but cook it at 250 degrees until it hit about 100 and I think it was about 160 internal temperature. This is just fat I'm pulling off the top of here. Now this, I believe this part. I want to take this time to say thank you to the MeatStick for hooking me up with their product to try. This was the last of my test cooks. I tried it on steak, chicken, pork, beef ribs. This was my final cook, a bone-in pork shoulder, and it worked perfectly. Very user-friendly. I love being able to connect and check my app to see how my internal temperature is coming along, as well as my ambient air. I want to see the temperature inside my smoker to make sure it's not getting too cold or getting too hot. Smokers have a hot spot on them, and it just makes things easier. It helps you cook better, helps you cook your meat to the right temperature, to your preferred temperature. It's very easy to change when you want to be notified. You can change your alarms to warn you when it's getting too hot or too cold. If you have a certain temperature that you like to pull your meat at, you can do that. It is very customizable, all different types of meats, proteins on there to cook to your desired temperature doneness to make sure you're cooking exactly how you want to. Only issues I have with this beans, I'm doing an honest review on it. They did want me to test this and give my honest feedback, is size of the probe. It just leaves a pretty big hole in your meat. If you're cooking a steak, it leaves a pretty significant hole. Pork loin as well. Big piece of meat like this, I'm never going to know where I had it in. But that being said, I only had 2 times where I was disconnected from my probe, and due to operator error, myself just walking away, and it went to sleep on me when I had disconnected from it. And the second time was when I wrapped this pork butt in foil. I used 3 layers of foil, and I think that just blocked my signal, so I could not continue to monitor my temperature with this probe. I had to insert a separate wired thermometer to make sure I was cooking it to the temperature that I wanted to. But then again, operator error. If I had noticed it got disconnected and wasn't busy doing some things, I could have been able to reestablish that connection to make sure I didn't lose track of my cook. It's worked well on all my other cooks. It performs better than my meter. I get disconnected regularly, even if I'm within range of what it says. This one works better, in my opinion. It can withstand hot oil. It is completely waterproof, and it just works really well. It's worked well on chicken, pork, beef, ribs. It's just worked out fantastic. I want to say thanks again for letting me test and try out this product. I'm going to be a future customer of all your other products that you come out with. I'm happy to continue using them. Thanks again for sending this MeatStick X. Go to themeatstick.com, see what they all have available, and get yourself one today.